he wants more years and more money than the Rams will give him. And a lot of the teams out there, the Giants, tire fire, coach GM on the hot seat, Steelers, tone deaf to offense, Cleveland, yuck, not interested. The Raiders thing is interesting. So there's a story this morning that Tom Brady reached out to Matt Stafford and said, would you consider us? I just want you to say this out loud because the NFL's magic potion, more than any sports league, is immediate hope. I mean, go to the Rams pre-McVay, the Texans pre-C.J. Stroud, the Commanders before they flushed everybody out. They were a laughingstock. So the idea the Raiders could turn it around, just say this out loud. Pete Carroll, Matt Stafford, Chip Kelly OC, Max Crosby, elite pass rusher, and Brock Bowers, an unbelievable once-in-a-generation tight end. That's pretty interesting. And they also landed probably a 10-year center last year in the draft, the highest-rated center. They look to be pretty good at offensive tackle. So there's two things Tom Brady can sell. Number one, no state tax in Nevada. California has 13.5%. Money matters. Don't listen to anybody. No state tax. Number two, the Raiders will give you more years and much more money. I'm telling you, the difference between a 2-year deal in L.A. and a 4-year deal with the Raiders could be $70 million. You have to consider that. I've said this with the Raiders. They check a lot of boxes. Now they got a head coach. They have a left tackle. They've got an elite weapon. They've got an elite edge rusher. Are they wonky upstairs? Yep, they are. Absolutely. But Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll give you a legitimate coaching staff. So, I mean, Pete Carroll, when people asked why Pete Carroll would take the Raiders job, don't think Tom Brady doesn't have an influence.
Tom Brady starts there. When Tom wanted to do this and he wanted to be part of this thing, that changed my outlook on what could be possible. I've found out since how consistently he has a great competitive mentality and spirit. And he passed it right through to the rest of the ownership group that has been incredibly fired up and jacked to do something special.
I always talk about, do you check 4 or 5 boxes in this league? Head coach, offensive coordinator, left tackle, quarterback, one great weapon, pass rusher. Matt Stafford shows up, Raiders check all those boxes. They're a little better than people think defensively. They were all beat up last year, but they gave Kansas City fits 2 times they played them. So this is a much better opportunity than New York. You're playing indoors, no state tax. You've got a brand new coaching staff. I get Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. That's attractive to me. And the Raiders will give you 3 or 4 years. Rams are not going to do that. The Raiders would give you $50 million. Rams may not do that. So now this also makes me think. I think, and I'm serious on this, money is something for Matt. All right? He's not going to get all the Super Bowl trophies. Folks, the difference between living in California and living in Nevada, state taxed, if they give you an extra year or two, that could be a $75 million swing. You got to do your due diligence on that stuff. I know you don't think that matters. The media's always said it doesn't matter. It matters to agents and players. It matters to every business guy in the country. What are the regulations? What's the state tax? What are housing prices? I'm just telling you, the Raiders is a very, very interesting fit, and I think Sean McVay and Les Snead and Stan Kroenke know that's the one that scares them. That's the one. I mean, again, he would be going to the other conference. You wouldn't have to face him regularly. That one I'm going to keep my eye on. And this makes me believe that Aaron Rodgers, again, what have I said about Aaron Rodgers? In terms of fit, the Rams are great. Bad coaching staff to great coaching staff. Aaron fitting with the Rams, Stafford to the Raiders, it makes sense for a lot of reasons if, and I don't think he wants to, if Matt Stafford leaves. J-Mac with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, let's start with another quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. The Jets moved on from him wisely. And some, are saying, well, what's their quarterback situation going to be like? Well, Jay Glazer, when he broke the news, there was some issues in the locker room. Quentin Williams tweeted out in displeasure of dumping Aaron Rodgers, saying, another rebuild year for me, I guess. Well, yesterday at the Combine, Coach Aaron Glenn addressed his Stars tweet, and other players, Colin, were apparently upset with the move.
Yes, I have talked to him. And listen,
I understand the reaction of the players, but I will say this. Every decision that me and Moosh make is to win, and to win now. So I understand it, but again, this is not going to be the last decision I make, right? That's not upset some people. And that's okay, right? But as men, we talk about it. We make sure we keep it in house. That we're going to continue to do.
Very interesting. There is not a quarterback on the market that played as well as Aaron Rodgers did in the last 10 games.
Actually, Sam Darnold played better than.
There's no
He's not
way
going back.
the Jets are bringing Darnold back.
That's fair.
There's not a viable quarterback on the market.
They're probably not gonna trade for Stafford, but Stafford.
They don't have what you need.
I am curious. We talked about the Jets. They needed a culture change.
No.
It sounds like everything Aaron Glenn is pushing in the media, he is focused more on anything than culture. Not scheme, not plays, not offense, not defense, culture.
Well, where did he come from? Detroit, which changed very much a gym. There are what I would call Vrabel's one of these, Harbaugh's one of these, Dan Campbell's one of these. They're culture coaches. So is Sean McVay, but he's also he's a good schematic guy. And a lot of the culture guys, Aaron Glenn's probably more culture than a scheme guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Many of the great coaches are. But I find that culture coaches miss more infrequently than scheme experts. There's a lot of young. Brandon Staley was supposed to be a brilliant defensive scheme guy. It didn't work because he couldn't change the culture. Yeah. So I'm just going to watch Aaron Glenn. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I will say, Aaron's last 10 games with a bad coaching staff, pretty darn good.
Let's just say, for the record, last season I went in with some expectations for the Jets.
Yeah.
Healthy Aaron. I forgot what they were.
Right now they're a 6-win team max. With their current quarterback.
That may be a little rich, but I'll just say this. I'm going to give Aaron Glenn a 1-year pass. I'm not going to kill him for the first year, right? He's got to change the culture. That might mean getting some guys out of that locker room. Like telling Quinnen Williams, hey, we got to keep that stuff in-house. Quinnen Williams is one of the alphas on that team. He may rub some guys the wrong way and have to shove them out. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle this year for the Jets, which is kind of on brand for a team.
By the way, another reason the Patriots will be the wild card team in that division.
Oh, dear. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the Bears. They hired Ben Johnson this offseason in a move that GM Ryan Poles believes will take Caleb Williams to the next level. Well, Ben Johnson spoke to Tom Pelissaro of NFL Network yesterday and talked about how ready Caleb is for next season.
Man, I tell you what, he's hungry. He's hungry. I'm trying to watch the Super Bowl with my family. I made it back to Detroit just for a weekend, and I'm watching, and my phone just keeps buzzing, and it's Caleb time and time again. What's going on here? What do we think? Oh, that was a cool play. Things like that. And so it's I just know this is a hungry individual that he's ready to get this career started of his because he's got a chance to be pretty darn special.
Sure does.
I like that. Little Caleb Williams and me. Sometimes I text you during games. Oh, my gosh, how fired up are you about this? And you usually don't reply.
Hopefully he's not that aggravating.
You've got a cigar in your mouth. But I don't know. Are Bears going to the playoffs this year?
My guess is they're going to be on the doorstep. I cannot figure out what Minnesota's doing with Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. Detroit's going to be a playoff team. I would say they will be a much more organized, entertaining, offensively liberated team. I think you'll watch. Like I said last year, I picked the Bears for 4th last year. Before the season, I said that the division's too good. I think there'll be a much better offensive version. You will feel at the end of the season or at some time in the middle of the season, oh, they run an NFL offense. They know what they're doing. The offensive line last year regressed so inexplicably because it looked like it was young and getting better, and last year it just circled the drain. My guess is they will attack the offensive line in the draft or free agency. Trey Smith could go there. Keep your eye on that. I think what you want when you get a new coach is a functional offense, because you don't have to be a great defensive team to win in this league. You have to be functional. They were awful last year. You didn't know what you got series to series.
It's going to be tough for them to get to the playoffs. Remember, Niners are going to bounce back.